I have been daily driving the X300 Pro since the launch event in Shanghai, and one of the things I'll probably say overall in the years that I've been covering Vivo devices and using Vivo devices as secondary and primary cameras is that this device surprised me. It has a lot of new, I would probably say a new direction that Vivo's trying to go with the Pro series. We have the camera kit that's typically was something that was kept over for the Ultra devices. We also have a consistent operating system between the China and the global market, now OriginOS 6, as opposed to having multiple versions like FunTouch for international and Origin for China. But the biggest thing that I think overall that has surprised me is how well the 9500, the Dimensity 9500 from Mediatek, has been performing for me on a daily driving type of an experience. Also, the connectivity in the US has been surprisingly well. This is TK, and this is my review of the brand new X300 Pro as well as the X300, and I'm going to share with you guys the things that I liked and the things that I didn't like after a week. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe, and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos for you on the channel. So what we have in front of us is the X300 here in the light blue, and of course the X300 Pro, the bigger of the two. Both of these devices are launching globally. There's going to be basically variants depending on the markets that you're in. Just to mention, at least in the versions that I have, the one on the right, the X300, is the Chinese variant, and the X300 Pro is the global variant, more specifically the European model. One of the biggest differences, obviously, there is some aesthetical differences on the physical aspects. You'll notice there is a button here on the left side that you're able to program that is not present on the X300. On the top, we have a top-mounted speaker where we have here an additional microphone. On the top one here on the Pro, we don't have that. On the left side, the volume rocker and the power button are pretty much the same, the antenna bands. And of course, on the bottom of the device, we have access to the SIM tray and of course, the additional microphone, USB-C, and the bottom firing speaker. Both of them are featuring beautiful large displays that are going to be featuring a lot of technologies improvements. You'll notice right there that live photo, one of the things that we can do now with OriginOS 6. This is one of the biggest things that they did at the launch event, that essentially is the FunTouch OS that we used to have in the global variants is no longer there. Everything globally is going to be releasing with OriginOS 6.0, and at least in the current variant, the X200 Pro already has a beta version of the OriginOS 6.0 that's been released. Both of these are running the same version of the operating system with some minor changes, and we'll talk about what is on the Chinese variant over the global variant of OriginOS 6.0. Now, when it comes down to the actual packaging, for the most part, we get very nice and slim boxes. Vivo was very nice enough to be able to include cases in the actual packaging, also making sure that the cases match the color of the unit itself. And the material on the back is very nice and smooth and very fingerprint resistant and smudge resistant. You do not see any fingerprints on any of these things. They beautiful, very nicely. Even on the Pro, as we're going to take a chance to look at that, same thing, same color. And of course, there's a few different variants as far as the colors. And one of the things I want to mention is the battery on the 300 here is actually bigger than the 300 Pro because this is the EU model. The EU model will carry a 5,445 milliampere as opposed to the 6,500 milliampere that's available in other markets. My understanding is that China, India, and some of the other markets will carry a slightly larger battery, but due to some regulations, pretty much this is going to be the maximum size battery we're able to get here, and it's going to be a little bit smaller on the Pro as well. The other thing that's going to also be dependent on the market that you're in is that if the box will include a charger or not. EU model does not include a charger. The Chinese model that I have here, that's why it kind of looks like a US plug, does include the 90-watt charger with the USB A to C cable as well as the actual charger, and that gives us the ability of charging our devices with up to 90-watt wired. Again, for full specifications and information about these devices, make sure to check out the unboxing. I'll give you guys a link in the description for that. But the overall performance here is something that cannot be denied. These are top-of-the-line Mediatek or Dimensity 9500 Mediatek processors running devices with some amazing specs. Before we go too far, we do obviously have to talk about the fact that these devices now, the Pro and the non-Pro, will also support a camera kit, similar to what we had with the X200 Pro that included a camera kit that we were able to pick up. The Vivo and Zeiss lens collaboration is included in here. We have the adapter ring that goes in, two additional, one for the filter adapter here to be able to attach your filters, and of course a decorative ring. When you're not using the adapter, you can just have it there and it looks really nice. So this is the kit, and again, enclosed in its own carrier. It was included in the package that I received. I will mention one thing. The difference between this kit and the kit that came with the X200 Ultra is the fact that we had an L bracket mount for the lens, where we don't have that here. For the most part, the only mounting option that we have is present on the grip, and it is essentially here is just a tripod mount as well as a lanyard. And it does actually feature exactly the same mechanism, USB-C connection, clamping mechanism, and release mechanism option, as well as the ability of the battery inside here to be able to add a little bit more power onto our device. And I love the fact that, and this is something that you probably true for many things, is the guide makes it easy for us to actually mount the lens, and it also gives us the ability of using this mount. This does not block any of the camera lenses of the X300 Pro or the X300, since they both share the exact same camera kit, with the difference obviously of the size. There's a small kickstand on the back here, and of course PGI information there. Wireless charging, if you're using this case, just a little bit tip, this won't work, mostly because of the distance that this adds. You are going to need to remove the top lens cap, and now the wireless charging will work when you're using this case. The grip is pretty much straightforward, clamps on the side here, and then you're able to attach it directly to your device. Releasing it is very simple. Inserting your device is pretty much a straightforward experience. Just put it in and of course push it all the way. Again, as you'll notice, all of the lenses are exposed. That gives you the ability of using this with the actual adapter on top without having to remove it to be able to use it like a regular phone. But when you're using it with this configuration, again, just connect it on the side, snap it in, it's clamps, it's very strong and sturdy, and again the mounting plate is on the bottom. I also love the fact that this is wide enough that I can actually use basically a phone mount, something similar to this, where I'm actually able to mount my device in this form if you want to use it with a tripod and not mount it directly on one side, as I feel like it kind of has that leveraging or more of a left-sided weighting in there when you're mounting it on one side. And also, in case you don't want to use it with the hand grip when you're mounting it, this becomes very easy. Now, as we talked about it, this is a Vivo and Zeiss collaboration, adding about a 2.35x telephoto lens to our telephoto camera that we have already on this device. So what you essentially do here, you align the dots directly to themselves, snap them on, and at this point the device is very much straightforward, all the way mounted on here. And all you have to do when you do turn it on, you can go in and jump into the camera application, and you need to be able to turn on this mode, because right now if I turn this on, let's say I jump into the telephoto, you probably see that it actually shows the images inverted because it's not aligned for it. Once you turn it on, it'll ask you, you have the VIVO Telephoto Extender Kit, say turn it on, and at this point we have the additional lens options here. We have now 200mm, 400, 800, and 1600. From there, you're also able to use it in video mode, and you're also able to continue the experience, as once you turn it on, the camera lens is experiencing there. You can definitely see it right there, and it works. And I also want to say that the ring for the camera, I guess the lens adapter here, is actually much firmer than what we saw with the X200 Ultra. So definitely a much better kit than what we had before. With the exception of the missing L bracket adapter, this is pretty much the exact same experience. As I mentioned to you guys at the beginning, both of them are running Android 16 out of the box with OriginOS 6, which essentially is going to be the going forward operating system for all Vivo devices, be it domestic Chinese models or international global models. As you can see here, X300, X300 Pro, both are running the Mediatek Dimensity 9500 processor, the first two devices launching with them. Technically the first global device that is available, although this officially hasn't launched, so the global variant of the X300 Pro should be available soon internationally. The models that I have here, I have 256 12GB of RAM, different options as well as colors. Here I have the 512 16GB, and the main thing obviously is the professional imaging chip, the VS1, that's going to be providing us some of the best experiences. The battery, as I mentioned to you guys, is a 6040 milliampere because this is the Chinese variant, and if had this been the Chinese variant, this would have been 6500 milliampere as opposed to the 5440 milliampere. Again, depending on the regulation, I'm not sure exactly why this one is going to be like that in Europe, but it's still an all-day battery. 5400 is over 5000, which we've basically been living with for many years now. So this is definitely an improvement over that, but again, not the maximum available configuration that is available for this device. A lot of the information that you're seeing here are obviously optimized based on OriginOS 6.0. We have the connectivity section, the notifications, the sound, the vibration, the home screen application, security, location, RAM boost, and all of that. Battery configuration, as far as when you're charging it, you also now have the nice ability of jumping into boost mode directly in the battery, and that's the ability of jumping into what used to be monster mode at one point. That gave us the ability of just pushing gaming mode on the profile whenever we wanted it. Digital well-being, shortcut and accessibility update, system update. I did receive one since I've had the device. System management, Google account, and so on. And because this is the global variant, as you can imagine, it already comes with Google Play services out of the box, and you're ready to go. This one, from my understanding, is already was siloed into it, which is not an issue. For the most part, even if you do pick up a Chinese variant of Vivo devices, all you have to do is go directly into their application store that's built into the actual unit itself. The application is called the V App Store. It is preloaded on your device. You log in, look for the Google Play Store, download it, and install it, and you're ready to go. The one thing I will say that some of the differences I'll noticed already between OriginOS for Chinese markets and in the global version is, first and foremost, the dialer is actually different. There is the Vivo dialer based on this one, on the Chinese model, and on the international model, we're using the Google, basically the Google phone application, the Google dialer. And that's one of the few things. Also, the App Store that I just mentioned to you guys, the V App Store, is not preloaded on the global version of this device. So it's not available. This is primarily to more align it with other devices available internationally. It focuses primarily on Google as the primary App Store, loading it directly onto this device and installing updates directly from it, and not leveraging other operating system or other app stores. But other than that, for the most part, you're getting exactly the same experience. The game mode is inside of here. It's already installed. When you launch a game, you're able to put it in. It's called the Ultra game mode. Camera experience is pretty much straightforward. Let's go ahead and go back into photo mode. Now, when we go into the camera application and we go into the video capabilities, we'll notice there's a few differences as well. The X300 does not support 8K, but it does support 4K 30, 60, and 120. Pretty much the same experience, where the Pro does definitely feature 8K 30 frames per second. I'm not sure why that was kept as a feature, but overall, I think it's still pretty decent. And we still have the same focal experiences. Although, I'll go ahead and just tap in here. I'll bring it up. The 1X is a 24mm here, where it's sitting in at a 23mm for the standard model for the 300. And the 3X goes in directly into a 70mm. And here, let's go ahead into 3. It jumps into 85 as it's a 3.5X. The 2X is a 48, 24, and then 15. Here we have 15, we have 23, 46, 70, and of course the highest is 233, where here we are jumping up to 242. So again, a few different calibrations. The front-facing cameras also featuring the exact same technologies, 4K 60 frames per second on both. Absolutely fantastic. I love that. And I love the fact that it actually allows us to use this on the different focal length that they've adjusted for us. So this is basically as wide as the lens can go, standard mode, and of course a slightly more punched in depending on how your composition of the video in there. And of course, under photography, we can switch over here. We'll go back to the main sensor. When we switch over to the photo mode, of course, we have access to the few pre-built-in lenses, or I think what I like to call essentially is color science. We have the textured mode, or the Zeiss mode. That's the default, more natural look Zeiss camera color calibration. Vivid, a little bit more punchy, a little bit more colorful. And of course, we have texture that also is preloaded. And of course, a black and white that you can customize. It will remember whatever the mode there is. You just need to customize it. And of course, you can go in and customize personalized style. You can change them and it will remember your specific requirement, or at least the specific settings that you put in there. We have portrait, and we also have landscape and night. I'll go ahead and get that in here. And one of the reasons why I really like this is because there's a feature here called AI mode that enables us. I'll go ahead and activate that. And what you can see here, the reason why this happened is because I've reset the phone and I had to reset it to transfer all my content into it. I've been daily driving it. So when I first tested it out when I was in Shanghai, I didn't have this feature on. So now that I have it in there, essentially what it's providing you is the ability of changing the aesthetic appeal or look of an image that you take. And what I like about it is you can customize the actual effect of it. You can jump in here, download different scenes into the mode the way it is. I'm going to actually show you a quick little clip on the side here of an example that I was using while I was in near the U Gardens in Shanghai. Very nice, very simple, very easy to customize, and I love the fact that you can customize it even after the effect. So definitely a very nice option. We have snapshot, of course. We can go under video, and then when we go under more, we also have the ability of seeing the additional options. There's the Pro. The telephoto extender here is present because I have that, obviously, because of the case that we have in there. Of course, the ability of using high resolution, supermoon, stage mode, pano mode, ultra HD, time-lapse, pro mode, and of course, slow motion. And the main thing I'll probably say is when you're using landscape and night, again, you have the option of getting better images in those modes, but also the ability of using AI a little bit to customize that experience. Let's go ahead and go outside real quick and do a quick camera sample from the main sensor on obviously the front-facing sensor, the main sensor on the back, as well as that telephoto lens with the attachment and recording video using an external microphone. We're going to start off with the front-facing camera here on the X300 Pro. The nice thing about this is that we can shoot at 4K 60 frames per second across all of the lenses that we have, even when we're using the extension or the camera kit that if you decide to pick that up. I will say that I'm going to do an actual sample showcasing the benefit of having something like this. An example, I'm going to be standing all the way on the other side of the backyard and then shooting it from the front next to my house to give you guys an example of what this is going to give you. And mind you, keep in mind actually, that that's going to be at the minimum focusing distance. I can actually go up to 4 stops from the standard one. So it's definitely going to be really nice. But this should be a good example of the front-facing audio and video from the X300 Pro, and this should be pretty much mirrored on the X300 because they're sharing the same sensor on the front. But without further ado, let's go ahead and switch over to the main sensor on the back, and then we'll go ahead and do that test with the telephoto lens attachment. Using the main sensor on the back right now, we're shooting at 4K 60 frames per second. We're also able to go to 4K 120. We are going to switch over and do the sample with the telephoto lens. I will say that one of the things I really appreciate about Vivo's implementation of the, I would say, mounting ring on the back of this device, especially with the case, you don't block the other sensors. What it means essentially is if I'm out and about and I want to be able to use the tele lens, I can attach it, use it. If I don't want it and I want to switch over to the main sensor, just remove the lens, don't remove the plate, and you're still able to move around and basically work with the ultra wide and the main sensor. If I want to switch back over again to use the telephoto lens without the lens attachment, you can also do that. So it's a flexibility function that I feel like is really, really good. I really did wish, unfortunately, that there was maybe some kind of carrying option, like a carrying case, because unfortunately this is, although very ruggedized, it actually becomes something that you have to carry with you whenever you're out and about. But again, good sample of the audio and video. Let's go ahead and attach this to the phone and do a quick video sample using this from one side of the backyard to the other. Okay, so an example of something that you could use this lens for is exactly what I'm doing right now. I have the X300 right here. The X300 Pro is recording this video. I'm recording it using a microphone, USB-C connection, and I'm using the telephoto lens, the extension option that allows me to record where my camera is sitting all the way by my house and I'm actually standing all the way on the other side of the actual backyard and be able to be in focus. Now, keep in mind, this is the minimum distance. I actually can go even further in if I decide to go in with the lens and still get that optical clarity, giving us the ability of shooting 4K, 120, 4K 60, and of course the ability of doing even more with the camera system that we have in here. I want to do a quick stereo speaker performance test for you here. This is the Jumbo by NCS Release, our favorite song on the channel, and we're going to play it at 100% on the X300 Pro.
Jack it up.
Sounds really good. It's loud, it's nice, it's bassy, it's not distorted at the high levels, which I really appreciate. And it provides us a very good experience from when we're wanting to enjoy content directly off of our device. Now, the bump on the back is a little bit more pronounced on the 300 Pro than it is on the 300, as you can imagine, but it is actually not as pronounced as the X200 Ultra, which is very nice. The sensors, very nice, and it is definitely balanced. It does have a little bit of a wobble if you're not using it with a good case, but the overall performance has actually been pretty nice. From a performance standpoint, I'm pretty sure you guys are wanting to know exactly how this performs. On the X300 Pro, which should be pretty much the exact same experience on the X300 as well, it runs basically at 3207 on the single core and 9759 on the multi-core, and of course 3372 on the single core with boost mode turned on and 9247 on the multi-core. Absolutely fantastic, no issues at all, and it works really nice. And of course, I'm sure you guys want to know, how does this work in the US? Is this going to actually work and function the way I'm expecting it to do? And I was really surprised how well optimized this was for the T-Mobile network here in the LA area. I clocked in 884 down and 116 up, and another time I clocked in 165 down and 7.73 up. So depending on the time where you are and how congested the network is, you're not going to be disappointed. So the connectivity on this actually has been working well. Also, for some reason, the 9500 and the radios that they've been using with this work much better in buildings for me on T-Mobile. I'm able to catch signals, stronger signals, even when I'm sitting in an area where I know in the past I barely got 4G at best. I was still able to pick up 5G and it worked absolutely fantastic. So from that performance alone, I think I'm very happy with the way these devices, or the device, has been running. I will say overall, from a performance standpoint, since I've been daily driving this, running a custom launcher, that's another thing that I just wanted to share. This, by the way, is one of their custom lock screens that they have. It enables us to actually now, let's go ahead and just do this. It enables us to be able to customize the experience, adding different wallpapers or a different lock screen, but also using live wallpapers as lock screen, which means when you turn on live photo and you take an image, you're actually able to customize it and allow it to have this nice little bit of animation when you unlock the phone. So let's go ahead and do that again. You'll notice right there, it just does that nice little floating and it matches the color. Unlocking it very fast, like that fingerprint sensor, I barely have to touch it and it works absolutely fantastic. There is a screen protector, not a screen protector installed on both of them. I am picking up a case, hopefully it'll be in the mail very soon, that also include MagSafe connectivity. There is none here. We do have wireless charging on both, just no MagSafe. So again, from that matter, everything else has been working great. Connectivity, processing power, day-to-day activity, a champion. Excepting, again, working with the standard launcher and the non-standard, even with OriginOS 6.0, it works really good on the global market. You're able to just switch over, install your secondary launcher, and it works great. All my gestures work really nice, and of course, I'm actually able to access all the functionality. The notification panel switches again, same thing. This is the new, again, more glass-like experience. Jumping into the settings, very straightforward. If you're worried about accessing the Google services, right there, launches. Gemini works perfectly fine in here. And of course, circle to search, as you can imagine, works perfectly, as every time. Google services are very well integrated and they run really nice. Now, as you can see here, right there on the bottom, this is the Ultra Gaming mode already activated. You just have to swipe it on the side and you can customize the profile from boost mode, balance mode, and battery saver. In the past, boost mode used to be only available in the gaming section and you couldn't actually access it outside of it. So you had to add an app within it for it to run the way you want it. Now it's available in the battery session as well as in here. Customizing also the different options in here as far as toggles, do not disturb, screen recording, all the different options you'd like, they're also all positioned in here. And this is just more of a, basically the profile that you're able to run. You're able to customize the refresh rate, the brightness, and last but not least, you obviously still have access to the full, beautiful flat display, which is going to be fantastic for gaming. Let's go ahead and close this out real quick. Call of Duty Mobile, just in case you guys are wondering, will support ultra with medium settings across all of the modes that we have in here. As you see there, the gaming experience is absolutely fantastic. You can use this directly the way it is on a smartphone, or you can connect glasses, use XR glasses, as it does support video out on the USB-C port that we have in here. Very nice. Fast connectivity. You can use like a gaming controller like the Kishi V3 Pro. Works really nice and provides you even more real estate on the screen so you don't have to block anything. I think overall what I'm really happy about what I'm seeing here with the X300 Pro is the improvements that we've gotten over the years. Now, FunTouchOS and OriginOS have had their own fans and have had their own personal quirks between the two. I love the fact that we've unified them now and it's pretty much OriginOS 6.0. There are still some small variances between the markets where this device is launched, depending how it's going to customize. More specifically, the dialer, I'm probably say this, I'm still a fan of the standard dialer that comes on Vivo devices. I mean, I'm coming into this from the X200 Ultra, as that was my device prior to the X200 Pro. The cameras on this device are fantastic. I don't know how to say it otherwise. I have been a massive fan of Vivo science and tech for many, many years, ever since the X70 Pro Plus. And this is where my buddy allowed me to actually trade with him, and I got that device. I have been a true believer of what Vivo's been doing. Their camera science, their camera tech, their focus on giving us such a well-balanced and but yet still customizable experience have always taken us to the next level. And you're looking at those images I'm sharing with you guys. Some of them are from Shanghai, some of them are from here. But one of the things that I really appreciated about that camera kit, as a father of a son that performs in a band that it performs in the center of a field, at a football field, because they're basically a marching band, I love having a telephoto lens, but I love the fact that I can jump in and extend it even more with the lens that we get in there. And it looks so professional. The images, the stabilization that we get in there, the ability of jumping in, even when it's matched at the 200mm focal length that we're looking at, standard focal without the lens extension, and with it, you get that clarity, that crispness that you're always expecting to get with an extension. Also love the fact that we're not blocking any of the camera lenses on the back, because that's again something that's going to make me having to remove a piece. And when you're going around and doing things, I'll probably say if there was one thing about the camera kit that I wish was included is a carrying case or a carrying option, so that you can carry the lens, the attachments, the rings in a carrying case. And I've had my kit for the X200 Ultra in a little baggie that I ended up picking up, but overall that would have been nice, especially maybe a little bit more, you know, monikered with like Vivo and Zeiss and all of that good stuff. I'm not complaining. It's more like of a wish list, maybe of a camera kit version 2.0. We'll see if the Ultra does end up coming in. Now, the launch didn't cover the Ultra. There was no mention of the Ultra. They launched the 300 Pro. They launched a tablet, earbuds, as well as a smartwatch. So the overall experience, what we're looking here is an ecosystem, right? So what I will say this, if you're a fan of what Vivo does in cameras, what Vivo does with camera science as far as color science that we get in there, I think that the 300 Pro is the device to go for, because primarily at least in the global market, you're going to basically be getting a bigger battery there. The larger display, I always appreciate that. I think the X300 though is still a very good fan favorite. I think a lot of people will love it. I'm going to show you guys some images of that from the cameras there as well while we were in Shanghai. And one of the things I really appreciated is how close the 300 and the 300 Pro, when it came to photography. Having a kit for the 300 is a game changer. The fact that they brought it to the Pro, which kind of was a logical thing, bringing in from the Ultra to the Pro, but they brought it to the standard, which, again, as I mentioned to you guys before, the X300 is the successor to the X200 Pro Mini, which was a Pro last year. Now, we don't have the side button, which I kind of bummed. I really wish that was included because I actually like it very much. One of my favorite features that I do with it in the morning is when I'm coming down the stairs and it's really, really dark, I actually activate my torch. So as you can see, and it's very nice and very bright. So it's one of my favorite features. You can customize it. There's a few different options you can do there. The ultrasonic fingerprint sensor, absolutely fantastic, very fast. Battery life has been solid. Charging speeds have been really, really nice. And again, with the exception of MagSafe, because I want to be able to attach different, like an example, I want to be able to use my external SSD. This is a very nice portable SSD that I picked up that works essentially as a hub. I can connect an HDMI display to this, connect external storage, and it works great with the X300 Pro. I just don't have the ring for it. So I'm waiting for that case to be able to use it. I know the kit that comes with this includes rings, but I prefer not to stick anything on this beautiful, gorgeous display, or gorgeous device, of course, to start with. So with that being said, I will say, if you're considering it, if you've ever thought about it, I think the X300 Pro is a no-brainer. Go for it. Works great, at least on T-Mobile. I don't have AT&T or Verizon to be able to prove that experience. And my testing has primarily been focused in LA. When I used it in China, it worked absolutely fantastic using the eSIM functionality. It does support eSIM, by the way. And of course, it just works. Obviously, I don't know how to say it other than it works. I installed Nova Prime, no problems there. It runs, it does everything that it needs. It has enough RAM, enough storage, everything that you need to do everything there. I'm going to try to do a little bit more of an update to this once it becomes globally available. But my initial response to this from a week being with it, I'll probably say is the good things obviously are the cameras, the display, the battery, the device, the performance. The options that we get there with the accessories, obviously with the camera kit, are always going to be top of my list of things that I like. The things that I wished, I'm not going to say they're necessarily bad experience. Some of the customizations, I wish we would have kept the dialer from the Chinese variant. I like the VIVO dialer a little bit more. I also would have preferred to have the App Store included in the actual device, as we've had it in the past. On the X200 Pro, that was included. So this is something I'm not sure if Android 16 is putting in that requirement, or is it, again, some kind of collaboration, but it seems more Google focused. And again, I would have loved to have some type of a carrying accessory, as well as the L bracket mount for the kit. If you didn't come from an X200 Ultra, you wouldn't have even known that this isn't there. But that was a very nice, I would say, a very nice kit to include, because mounting it from the lens, where I feel like most of the leverage is going to be, is much better. Although, as I mentioned to you guys, you could definitely put a standard phone mount in the middle. There's enough space. It doesn't block anything, and it works absolutely fantastic. If you are going to be driving this for a little bit more than normal, again, at least at the event while they were when they were doing the event, I promise I'm not going to strain this too long, they recorded parts of the launch event on an X300 Pro using a camera rig configuration with a cooler built into the back. So I would probably say that if you're considering there. The 9500 is very nice, very powerful. It does warm up when you're playing games, but it doesn't overheat to the point where it's not functional. It's definitely dissipating heat in the right areas that it's supposed to. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below, what do you guys think of the X300 Pro, the X300, and if you guys have used any of the X series from Vivo, if you're coming in from before, or if you're considering coming into these devices. I appreciate your support. Like and subscribe as usual, and I will see you as usual in the next one. Bye-bye for now.